Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the most popular and least listened to podcast in the world, the Sixth Sense Media Podcast, with your host, Mike Phelan.
From no one you've ever heard of comes a film you've seen a million times before.
Anything is on Christmas! Where am I going? I haven't packed.
Snowy Heights.
That's my hometown where I grew up.
So pour yourself a wholesome mug of hot cocoa.
I'm here!
Or maybe something a little stronger.
Silly me. And I've interrupted your date.
Oh, no.
I just got here from the big city.
Oh, you're a lesbian. Most folks from the big city are. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Even I've licked.
Oh, Mrs. Clovenwitz.
This holiday season.
I do have some bad news for you.
We're gonna lose the cup of cheer. Our landlord, Ebenezer Chan, he's gonna take it away from us.
Whenever I have a problem, I ask, what would my dead parents do?
Die, I guess.
Watch the Christmas movie that will jingle your bells.
You know how I'm writing that article about the town's world-famous Christmas cheer?
Well, this is the first I'm hearing about it.
I'm writing an article about the town's world-famous Christmas cheer.
This is the second I'm hearing about it.
No, I just told you a few seconds ago.
Told me about what?
It's a holly jolly mess.
Yeah? Oh, my private shoulder.
And it's coming down your chimney to make the season bright. Christmas is coming.
Most importantly, we learned that small towns are way better than big cities.
And that's what Christmas is all about.
All right, so we're talking about Cup of Cheer, right?
Yeah.
So it's a unless I completely misread the trailer, it is a parody of like Lifetime and ABC Family Christmas movies, right?
No, you interpreted it correctly.
I just wanted to make sure because I feel like I'm kind of getting out of touch.
Yeah.
So where did this? I'm pretty sure where the idea came from, but what gave you that inspiration to actually make this a thing?
Yeah, after my first feature, All About Who You Know, that's what it's called, I was taking a lot of meetings with people, and a lot of the time I would hear, oh, well, your movie was pretty good, but if you want to make any money, you should make a Hallmark or Lifetime movie, because that's where the money is. And so that just didn't sound appealing to me. And I tend to do the opposite of whatever people tell me to. So I thought it'd be really fun to do the opposite of a Hallmark movie, which is just to completely make fun of it because they're all really the same, and to do something really, really funny with the concept, which is, that the plot line of all these movies are the same, and it would be a lot of fun to make fun of it and take something wholesome and turn it into something completely ridiculous.
I'm surprised at how many times they can make the same movie. It's like they have a template script, and they just drop in character
They do.
name,
I've seen it.
character occupation, and menial struggle that character is having, and then the rest kind of fills itself out.
Yeah, so it was that's exactly right. And so it was really funny. It was really fun to write it because you get to focus entirely on jokes rather than plot, because the plot is going to be the same no matter what.
When for the comedy writing process for you, how do you go about crafting your jokes?
So for this one, it was me and my co-writer, Andy Lewis. And basically, we had the idea to do this. We knew immediately it was going to be called Cup of Cheer. It was going to be about a struggling hot cocoa shop in a small town and this girl from the big city and all those plot points. So we kind of roughly sketched out what the outline was going to be with an idea for jokes and how to twist things around. Like, wouldn't it be funny if for the thing at the end of every movie where the town gets together for their annual Christmas Eve tradition, wouldn't it be funny if so-and-so happened? So we basically just sat next to each other, and we'd each take turns writing a scene. And then when we were done this scene, we would pass it off to each other and just see what made the other person laugh. That was really all it was. We were just writing jokes that made us laugh, and then we figured that was a pretty good sign that something was funny.
I noticed when I watched the trailer for it, there's that hint of like that old school Zucker kind of comedy where the thing you see that's funny doesn't have a permanent presence. It immediately goes away. So
That's right.
That's great, because then you don't linger on the joke and you don't stay there forever. You got your sight gag in, and then you're moving on to the next thing. You're not making a half-hour thing about one joke, which is thank God.
Yeah,
I am so grateful for that.
Part of our writing process, actually, we made a list of rules of what our favorite comedies, including Airplane and all those Zucker movies, follow, and we actually sort of looked at them very analytically and counted the jokes, because every joke is a throwaway joke, and we determined that there's usually one joke every 10 seconds. So that was exactly what we tried to copy. We tried to copy that joke ratio where something is funny, immediately there's something else funny, and that never lets up for an hour and a half.
But then you have to balance that out by having all your actors play it straight. So how difficult is that to accomplish?
That was actually one of the most fun parts for me directing it, was just to make sure that everybody plays it straight and that nobody is in on the joke. Because I feel that the worst, I think parody movies have a dirty name from movies like Scary Movie and all those movies running it into the ground in the early 2000s. And I think that a big reason for that is because nothing is played straight. Somebody gets hit in the balls, and then all the other characters react to it with a stupid face, and then that joke just goes on forever. So for us, it was more of an issue of we wanted this to be believable as a Hallmark movie. And even though all these jokes keep happening, we want the characters to just continue on through it as if no one has said anything funny.
Leave the reaction to your audience, not to your character.
Exactly. It's like the equivalent of having a laugh track. I think it's funnier if you catch the joke on your own.
Mm-hmm. What was your casting process like?
It's funny because all these Hallmark and Lifetime movies are actually generally filmed up here in Canada. And so we auditioned hundreds of local actors, and all of them had said, "This is so funny because I've done 10 of these auditions in real life this week." So they were all auditioning for the real thing while they were doing our completely ridiculous thing. So we had such a good pick of actors because they all totally understood what we were doing, and they all wanted to be on board. They all thought it was really funny. So we ended up just, narrowing that down further and further, and then we called people in for auditions and chemistry reads, and we just found people that were so funny while still being genuinely good dramatic actors. Like, the acting in this movie, I think, is way better than it needs to be. And we just got, we just thankfully chose people that are really, really, really good.
One thing I was expecting, which I know it was probably a long shot, and it's also probably hard to get him to sign on to, but I was half expecting Eric Roberts somewhere to just kind of walk, because he appears in the past 5 interviews I've done for Lifetime movies. Eric Roberts is always in there somewhere, even if it's just a 5-minute cameo role. At least he always shows up. He's like a staple for Lifetime movies. I was just surprised that he didn't just happen to show up and it's just as a walk-on or something.
I'm gonna take that idea for the sequel.
You make an entire movie that's just Eric Roberts walk-on cameos.
Yes, exactly. That's just his life. It's the Eric Roberts story.
Did you run into any issues? Indie filmmaking always has its trials and tribulations. Did you run into any kind of issues when during production?
Well, the interesting thing, I guess yes. Because we're not a real Hallmark movie, we have a fraction of the budget that they have. They shoot in all the same places as us, the same little cute small towns and stuff, with the same crew, but they can afford to do it in June or July because they have the budget to spray fake snow everywhere. Since we didn't have that option, we had to film in February when it was consistently, minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit outside. It was like during a period of the coldest month on record, and it was like we were outside constantly trying to get real snow and real locations and stuff. And it was really, really, really fucking cold.
But you have that air of realism to it then, where it doesn't look like it's an early summer.
Exactly,
in some part of Canada.
In all these movies, I can always see, like, just beyond the block they're filming, you can see all the summer trees with green leaves and everything. And you can also tell that the snow is just like shaving cream sprayed on the floor and stuff.
Yeah.
Here you can see people's breath and their eyes freezing and
their
all
skin's
the
a
real
little blotchy and
yeah, exactly.
It has that whole gray kind of tone to it, which is that's something I feel. I live in Florida, and
yeah.
It's something insulting when I see a film that's set in wintertime, and I can tell it's the exact same climate that I deal with 365 days a year. I'm like, I just don't buy this. Just
yeah, and they're all
fuck you.
in a light jacket. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel sorry for actors that have to do that, have to wear winter clothing in probably 80 or 90 degree weather.
Yeah, exactly. I can guarantee that's better than wearing winter clothing in minus 30 degree weather.
Was there any particular part of the film that is your favorite?
Ooh,
or at least one particular joke that even when you just think about it, just kind of gets you kind of into that good spirit.
I think one of my favorite jokes. There's so many that just sort of like boil down the essence of the movie in a few words. I think the stupidest joke, and for some reason one of my personal favorites, is that the lead female, Mary in the movie, her name is Mary, she gets tapped on the shoulder by the prince who travels back in time, obviously, because they're in every one of these movies. But she gets tapped on the shoulder, and there's just like a throwaway line. She has surprise, and so she says, "My private shoulder," and it's just such a stupid line. It doesn't mean anything, and it immediately goes away. But I just think it's like a funny few words.
One of my last questions, which is probably the most important one, is where and when will people be able to see Cup of Cheer?
Yeah, so it in the US it comes out on VOD on November 6th on whatever VOD platforms, and it is going to be exclusively streaming for free to everybody on Tubi. Will be one of the first movies actually to release entirely for free from day one on Tubi. So that's really exciting. It means that everybody can get a chance to see it.
You've been listening to the Sixth Sense Media Podcast. You can find more of our celebrity interviews and roundtable discussions on iTunes, Podbean, and SoundCloud. Be sure to check out our movie, TV, and video game coverage at sixthsense.com and fanbolt.com.